Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. On the show today, we're going to talk about an unexpected decision by the Trump administration that's making waves around the world, including here in India. The US Department of Homeland Security has decided to stop Harvard University from enrolling foreign students, which means the university, which has a significant reputation worldwide, can no longer take in international students, at least for now. This move directly affects thousands of students, including many from India, because every year, thousands of young Indians go to the United States to study with dreams of building a better future, and Harvard is often seen as the means to achieve that dream. But this sudden decision to ban enrollment of foreign students has left them and their families in shock. So why did this happen? What happens to the Indian students already studying there, or those who are just about to go? What will they do now? And what does this mean for the long-standing education ties between India and the US? To help understand all this, we have with us a panel of experts. I'm delighted to welcome on this edition of Perspective Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat. He writes and speaks extensively on issues relating to international relations and Indian foreign policy. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time. Welcome to the program. We also have with us Dr. Anshu Joshi, Center for the Study of the Americas, JNU. Dr. Joshi, welcome to the program. Dr. Stuti Banerjee, Senior Research Fellow, ICWA. Dr. Banerjee, glad to have you with us on this broadcast as well.
Thank you.
So let's get started. First to you, Dr. Joshi, help us and our viewers understand what exactly is this order from the Trump administration, and particularly what are the reasons that have been given by the government to put this kind of ban on enrolling foreign students at Harvard.
Thank you so much, Tina, for this opportunity, for this invite. And for the world, it seems that it's a shocking announcement and all of a sudden announcement from Trump. But I would share some facts and data with you in next couple of minutes to share with you all that it has not happened in hurry. And so far, so everybody is worried with this new order, wherein the government of America has announced revocation of Harvard's student and exchange visitor program, and the government has blocked Harvard University from enrolling new foreign students, and has also said that current students will need to transfer to continue their studies. And before that, in the month of April, the government of America froze more than 2.2 billion USD in grants and contracts with Harvard. And the reason was given as in non-compliance with the requests to modify hiring and admissions policy, as Trump continuously directed Harvard to follow. Dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, popularly it is known as DEI programs, and conduct ideological screening of all the foreign students. So it was alleged, Trump believed that Harvard and other such universities, there are other universities also, they are fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and Chinese Communist Party on their campuses. And let me also share the fact that Harvard and Columbia were the universities wherein pro-Palestinian movements were going on. So this institution drew Trump's anger for refusing to submit the information that his office wanted with respect to different types of students that it has, the kind of ideologies that they have. And also read between the line is that his office wanted to control the curriculum, admissions, and research of the university, which the university refused. So everything started from the month of January only, Tina, when Trump became president once again, and he started questioning colleges, businesses, industries, and government offices also. Then he took out series of executive orders. Then in the month of February, a task force of the US Department of Justice said that it would be visiting 10 schools, including Harvard, to root out anti-Semitism and there were different student protests that were going on, including in Harvard at that point in time. So in the early month of March, Trump administration for the first time cut 400 million USD of federal funding to Columbia, and Department of Education sent similar warning letters to Harvard. And then in the last week of March itself, the US Department of Health and Human Services and US General Services Administration announced that there would be an official review of certain grant given to Harvard contracts and also the multi-year grants that the government provides to the university.
Right.
Then in the month of April, Harvard got a letter stating it had failed to meet the conditions that justify federal investments, including demands from Trump administration, such as governance overhauling and reforms in the hiring practices, and especially checking the background of the international, or what Trump called hostile international students. And this actually was refused by the Harvard administration, and in the month of April itself, Harvard filed a lawsuit against Trump administration for violating US Constitution. And then it also said that it has shared the information required by the office, but has not got any response from the office of Trump. But then Trump actually posted certain, he started warning the university through social media posts, and finally now we see this shocking announcement. But then there is a background, and just with going with his very famous Make America Great Again campaign, he does not want any hostile or left-leaning international students in US, and that is why he has taken this decision. But definitely is going to have a lot of repercussions that we can discuss
Absolutely.
further.
So the announcement may have been sudden. Dr. Banerjee, I'll come to you. But as Dr. Joshi has shared the extensive background of the reasons that led to this kind of an announcement, the implications first, and particularly on how it impacts the Indian students. There are hundreds of students enrolled at Harvard. So help us understand how this affects the students who are enrolled at Harvard or those who are planning to join this year. And could they lose their visa? Could it lead to them deferring their education? What could be the possible options that now these students have? Dr. Banerjee.
Thank you so much, Tina, for this opportunity. I will start by saying the views I express are my own. On the question of Harvard losing the grant to, or the leverage to get in international students, I would like to point out, yes, the Trump administration had made this move, but it is currently put on hold by a federal court because Harvard has gone to court about it. In terms of students, yes, it affects our students very, very much because if I'm not wrong, the figures I've got is that close to 800 students are enrolled currently in Harvard. Indian students are enrolled in Harvard in various programs, including postgraduate and long-term diplomas and such things. So it definitely affects how they will proceed. In terms of where they are going, because while the administration has said that they can now shift to other universities, that is an option before them, it is not that easy, especially in long-term courses like a doctoral program. You can't just up it and go somewhere else. And most of these would be affected in terms of the science education, in terms of research. So it's not a very easy shift for students to go from their labs to another lab and start researching on a completely different topic. So it is definitely going to affect our students. I believe that the Indian government is working on how this can be resolved. But more importantly, you have a lot of students' unions within Harvard student community, which is trying to figure this out. So it would be a setback for Indian students who now constitute one of the largest number of international students in the US. So for the current lot of students, while their visas have not been revoked, they will not be sent back. The big question for them, and it's a career-making move for them, is how do they shift out of Harvard to other universities which probably run different programs, have different research approaches, or are working on completely different matters. So that's a dilemma that our students are facing right now. And I hope that it gets resolved between the university and the administration, figuring out something for them. In terms of students going to the US, yes, it is likely to impact not just Indian students, it's going to likely impact the overall outlook of international students going to the US as they look at how the US administration and how the universities are resolving these issues. But it will, I think, most likely impact the number of students going to the United States, at least for the next 1 to 2 years. In terms of deferring their admission, Most US universities do allow you to defer your admission for a year. So if there are students, I believe, who would be going or are planning to go this year, most of them would, I think, defer their admission to next year just to see how this plays out, get themselves some time and buy some time for themselves and to figure out how they should proceed and if they should now look for other opportunities in other countries, which I believe are looking very eagerly to welcome Indian students. So I think that is going to plan out, but as of now, it's a wait and watch policy, both for the institution that's Harvard and other universities, as well as for the international students as to how they should take it forward. But yes, future of students definitely is, who are currently in Harvard, hangs in the balance. So I hope it is resolved very quickly for them. Thank you.
Absolutely. So while there is uncertainty that the students currently face, the question is, and something that Dr. Banerjee also hinted at, Ambassador, I'd like to bring that question to you. What is it that the Indian government can do, both diplomatically and to safeguard the interests of these students? Because there may be valid reasons behind this kind of an announcement by the Trump administration, but the worry is that hundreds of students, thousands of students globally, their dreams for now are at an uncertain phase, and the Indian government, there will be expectations from the Indian government to step in and perhaps do something.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tina, for having me on the show. You're very right. As has been mentioned by the panelists, that there are about 800 Indian students currently in Harvard. And, what the US administration has told them is that they'll have to make alternative arrangements to leave Harvard and to go to other institutions. And, basically, as again the panelists have explained, it is, what the Trump administration has said is that when the students are coming there, they are really coming into the United States as guests. So they must abide by the laws, rules, regulations under which they are coming there. And if they are going to be violating those laws and rules, then they are liable to be sent back or their visas being revoked. And you would recall that, very recently the US administration has also issued this order, this instructions that all student visas, processing of all student visas, that should be stopped. And, even when it resumes, or for that matter, when student visas are being given, that their social media activities, they will be tracked, they will be looked at, and that will be factored in before the visas are provided to them. Of course, it's been said that this monitoring of the social media activity that has been going on since 2019, but it has not been followed so very rigorously, but now it is being followed. Coming to your question, Tina, that you said in terms of what is it that the Indian government can do. Number one, I think that, Harvard University, being such an Ivy League university, being such a prestigious university, they have taken the case to the court, and I think they will have their full arsenal of very, experienced and well-placed lawyers who will be arguing their case. And I'm sure that there will be some via media that will be found, particularly for the students, not only the 800 students from India, but around the world who are in Harvard. And I think Indian government will also try to work it out with the US administration, US establishment. But, this is a global issue. It is not impinging only as far as the Indian students are concerned. So I think we'll really have to wait and see as to how this legal course that is being undertaken, how does that proceed. But I think this should become quite clear as far as the US administration is concerned, that, it is a lose-lose proposition for everyone concerned, particularly as far as the United States is concerned. Of course, we've seen as far as, students who are studying there, not only from India, but across the world, also students who would like to go to Harvard and other similar universities, because the United States administration has made it very clear that Harvard is only, the first of them. And of course, they had taken action against Columbia, and Columbia had agreed to change their rules and regulations. But, beyond Harvard, they are planning to take it to the other universities also. And I think in that context, it is going to be, it is quite clear, that the United States is a land of immigrants, its prosperity, its progress as far as science, technology, all these areas. It really owes all this to the immigrants that it has welcomed over the last 200, 300 years. So if it really wants to maintain and retain its position at the top of the rung as far as technology is concerned, it needs to welcome the foreign talent from other countries.
Absolutely.
And just by building these huge walls around it, it will be doing itself a disservice. And of course, the last word there, it is also the United States, the universities, and the US economy is earning huge revenues through the fees that is payable. And, so many students come, they live there, they spend money there. So that gives an impetus, that gives a huge, boost as far as their economy is concerned. So I think definitely for the United States is going to be a huge loss, both in the short term as well as in the medium and long term. As far as the students are concerned, I think there are so many other countries, whether it's Australia, UK, Europe, all of them would be eyeing with, very keen interest as to what happens there, so that they should be able to attract all these students to their own universities.
In fact,
Tina.
that would have been my next question to Dr. Joshi, that whereas there is uncertainty and there have been reasons that you listed out behind this kind of an announcement to ban foreign students' enrollment at Harvard, Dr. Joshi, do you also expect that this policy could spill over to other American institutions, given the reasons that the administration has cited? And do you also see this working as a shift in student preferences, particularly from the Indian context to countries like the UK, Australia, maybe to Europe as well, something that the ambassador pointed out in the longer run?
Tina, you have asked a very good question, and I will pick from Ambassador Sajanhar only that the international students contribute more than just, to the world of academics. They are actually the cultural ambassadors of their countries to wherever they go and study in a foreign country. And they help in boosting government to people and people to people connects. So such kind of a decision from Trump administration would definitely have short time as well as long time impact repercussions. And apart from one dimensional impact that we all are discussing presently, that what will happen to the students and how would these universities look in future and all, if the same announcement would be made for other universities as well, definitely it's going to impact overall academic fabric of United States of America. Let me share the fact that we have our more than 3 lakh Indian students in United States of America enrolled last year in different programs in different universities. So it's not only about those 788, to be very precise, students who are enrolled in Harvard at the moment. There are other Indian students enrolled in different programs in other US universities that are also on the radar of Trump administration at the moment. And at the same time, there would be a negative impact on administration also, because these students are a big source of revenue. So if I talk about Indian students only, they are projected to spend 17 billion USD annually on their education, including 10 billion USD on academic expenses only. So for now, it seems like a tactical shift. It looks like a situation of flux, but Tina, Your question is very significant. It could bring a structural shift to the academic nature and fabric of the universities, of the educational institutions of United States of America. And right now, things could appear like momentarily restrictive, but the same announcement, if made for other universities, definitely there would be long-term impact also. And at the same time, it's not only about the students of India, but when we look at a larger picture about the other international students, then the bilateral relations between the two countries would also get impacted. As in, we are also discussing that what Indian government can do in this regard. So there would be repercussions on bilateral relations, on the academic culture, on overall society, and of course on these universities.
Absolutely.
And that is why everybody is expecting that Trump administration must think over the announcements or the decisions that Trump is taking at the moment and what happens in the future.
Okay, Dr. Banerjee, a related question on the long-term implications, and particularly from a bilateral context. From a policy standpoint, we don't expect a lot to happen. But do you see larger implications in our engagement with the United States in education, in research, in people-to-people exchanges in the long run?
See, Tina, one of the things you have to understand is, like we said, students are our cultural ambassadors. So that is an impact because they go on to not just contribute to the US economy in terms of tuitions, but students, not just Indian students, globally across the world, students have continued to contribute to the US economy in terms of going on to becoming entrepreneurs there, becoming doctors. That, if you look at the startup culture there, a lot of them are started by international students, primarily from India. So it's going to be a hit on the US economy, which is a worrying factor for a lot of US economists right now. But in terms of how it's going to affect bilateral relations, I would say yes, the Indian, I think the MEA is working with its counterparts in trying to understand what are the reasons and what are the areas which are of concern to the Trump administration. We are open, we have said we are open to working with them. We would want our students to continue to study in Harvard and other US Ivy League colleges. But I think there is also a shift within the thinking that we are now looking at what is known as circular mobility of, so you have students who will go there, study, probably work, gain experience, and then most probably come back to India and put that experience to use here. So we are now shifting our focus also on looking at that kind of a circular mobility between our workforces and students. But yes, it would be a big loss, I would say, both for India and the US if there is this dip in students going to the US, not just in terms of the academic collaborations that we are looking at, it would be in terms of research that we are doing together, because the US, one of the strengths of international students and of the grants that the US government gives to these colleges is that a lot of them are focused on research in technology, in health, in education, like the GPS that was actually made for the military in one of these universities and then went on to becoming a civil use. Right. So these are collaborations we would want. But I think what would be one positive is that maybe India can now, the government can work with these universities to figure out how they can open university campuses in India so our students really don't have to go to the US. They get that quality education here in collaboration with our universities and teachers. The other is, I would say, an opportunity, whereas we can look at our own education system, because India also does attract international students. So maybe we could change our curriculums to adapt to a much more wider range of students who would feel that maybe we can now go to India, because we do have our IITs, IIMs, etc. A lot of our universities actually are in the top rankings internationally. So why not take this as an opportunity also to build?
That's a wonderful point that you made, and I'll take that across to Ambassador. We often say, Ambassador, in the Indian context, that in crisis we see opportunities and we do perform much better than expected. So do you also see this crisis creating an opportunity for India to rethink, re-strengthen our higher education system and retain that talent back home?
No, absolutely. I think, this thinking had started, let me say, even before, this crisis erupted on us. This crisis came in front of us because you would see that, it's also one of the elements of the new education policy that we are going to establish, branches of foreign universities, and, our students would be able to do part of their curriculum here, part of their curriculum outside. But if there are going to be challenges as far as the US universities are concerned, then, and we already have foreign universities coming and establishing campuses here. You would remember that when we had the Australian Prime Minister, Mr. Albanese, at the Gift City, it was the Australian university that has been established. I've seen a couple of days ago, there was an advertisement that the Liverpool University is going to establish its campus here. So I think this is going to provide an impetus to it, that this whole process, because, when Indian students go out there, they are, of course, cultural ambassadors, but they are also getting the experience of, studying and working in that international environment. And I think that same international environment, if we can provide it in India, I think the challenge is going to be, creating the infrastructure, getting the faculty. It is not going to be possible in the short term. It will give a push to it, and definitely will be able to, but it is not going to be, possible to do it within a year or a couple of years. I think it's going to be a medium-term program.
Absolutely.
And in the
But we
meanwhile,
must begin to think about it and re-strengthen the legacy of Indian universities such as Nalanda and Takshila that we've had. The effort is on.
Indeed.
But I think in the short term, as all our panelists have suggested, while we hope that there is an immediate solution because the future of the current students who are enrolled there is at stake, but in the longer run, it does provide India an opportunity to strengthen our own higher education systems so that we're able to retain the bright minds here back home so that they can contribute to the growth of our country. That having been said, I'll have to wind up the program. Thank you, Ambassador Dr. Joshi, Dr. Banerjee, for your valuable insights. And thank you to you viewers as well for your time.